pushed me up. And then we did the 109,000 that, I had told you that we were gonna do an adjustment for the 109,000. So then that's what was left. That's, excuse me.
Good morning, Miss Stacy. Good morning.
Wow, you're on camera.
I know, I feel like.
Going live.
The camera was right on my belly and I kept going with that.
Your hair's fixed and all that.
Because Mr. Kennedy never showed up a single time last time.
Oh, really? That's not a bad thing. Whenever you're ready.
You are ready. Okay, and when we get to the PowerPoint part, I'm gonna try and see how it works, but it may not guarantee it.
All right, y'all ready?
Yes.
Good morning. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners, Felicity County Navigation District. It's Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, 9 a.m. We're at 400 West Hidalgo, Suite 200, Raymondville, Texas. And the live streaming is testing. Public notice is given that the commissioners may go into an executive session at any time during the meeting to discuss matters listed on the agenda when authorized to do so by the provisions of section 418.183 or chapter 551 of the Texas Governmental Code. In the event the commission elects to go into an executive session regarding any of the agenda items, proceeding officer will publicly announce the section or sections of the Texas Governmental Code authorizing the executive sessions. Item 1, review and consideration of previous meeting minutes.
One exception to the minute I've noted with Letty on item number 4. I believe it's about the meetings in Port Mansfield and La Fera. If there was no action taken, I think there was a motion made and it failed for lack of second.
That is correct. Also on item 5, it states that a motion was made and seconded by Reyes, but there's no mention of the vote, whether it was passed, failed. Yeah, we need to do a complete writing of what actually happened.
Yeah, that's very important.
Mm-hmm. And if I remember, that was a
Unanimous.
unanimous vote. Let the record show that we need to make that correction. Again, it goes on, motion made second, but there's no. Yeah. We need to complete that.
Also, there's two agendas there that need to be. Up again.
Workshop agenda and
Minutes.
regular meeting agenda.
Move we adopt both of these minutes. As amended.
As amended.
I
Motion
second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Kendrick, seconded by Commissioner Trevino. On favor,
Aye.
opposed, motion carried. Public comment. Bonnie Cleveland.
On the Newport subdivision, first advertised on the website November 9th, 2022. American Electric Power did not receive the necessary paperwork from the developer until March 20th, 2024. This is documented by the Public Utility Commission. These lots were paid for under the pretense of a modern upscale development with underground electric service. According to AEP, the design was changed by the developer to be overhead conductors and transformers on utility poles. The utility poles began arriving in December 2024. I don't understand why this change was not public knowledge for the residents of Port Mansfield who have to look at this every day. The overhead construction costs more money, is less reliable, and took more time. 80% of the money paid to AEP could have been deferred for months, years, or not even spent at all. To date, only one person has applied for power. The underground should have been installed with only provisions for the other lots on Baffin. I can go over this anytime with anyone and show the wasted money. If you look at the water utilities, they didn't purchase and install 47 water meters. They installed one with provisions for 46 more. The current power system includes 261 unnecessary electrical connections that will fail prematurely. This design was approved by the developer. The Bayview street front is lined with utility poles and transformers that may never be needed. The subdivision looks like a low-budget trailer park. This, along with other wrongdoing, has ruined the public perception of the district. Increased realtor fees and border affairs won't fix this. The unsightly overhead needs to be replaced with the reliable underground primary as previously planned, and any new design should be reviewed for approval and comments by all the residents of Port Mansfield. Thank you.
Here.
Don Walker.
With mine, keep one for yourself and just pass one on to the rest of them. While back, y'all, pretty much just donated the land to, Marshall. Because the you know, and I heard from one of the board members that there was gonna be, you know, employment opportunities here, and it's just turned into a junkyard with, you know, leftover construction debris. And it was, all it is a construction yard, permanent construction yard. Marshall just moved all his junk over there and piled it up. And, you know, it doesn't look like there's gonna be anything that's gonna be used for employment or anything else. And I know, I know that there's been a standing offer for at least 3 to 4 times the price that the board received from that. So I don't know, you know, who was getting what out of that, and that deal or whatever else. I know that's past history, but this is where it's at now. It's just an eyesore. They fenced off one side, but everybody coming from the north side over there to the south side, taking that shortcut, sees the eyesore over there. So they had to pass by it. And so, and then another item that a lot of people have probably already heard, but I'd like to read it into the record. You know, because we got rid of one criminal that took place with some election fraud that the board never took action on. And this is another criminal activity. I understand it's against policy, and it's a misdemeanor. So you know, y'all can decide to do what you want to with it at this time or not. You know, but board director put son on navigation district payroll, nepotism, conflicts of interest hidden from public. Board director Ron Mills hired his son as a consultant to the Willacy County Navigation District, though his son was just a few years out of high school and had no experience in maritime operations or government. Troy A. Mills Marin lives in Brownsville, has never appeared before the Navigation District Board, and the details of his employment compensation and duties have never been disclosed publicly by the board, which would have approved his hiring during the chairmanship of Chad Kinney, who lost his seat last November. Y'all have a copy behind all y'all's photos there if you want to go over that. It would appear from Troy Mills' social media page that he began advertising himself the principal consultant of Fossil Consulting in August 2023. The same month, he registered the LLC with the Texas Secretary of State's office. No other consultants are listed. The so-called consultant firm appears to have no offices and gives its address at the home of the port director Mills and his wife. But a Fossil website features a statement from Ronald Mills saying the Fossil Consulting had been working for the Navigation District for several years. The firm has assisted with our annual audit process and social media outreach. Quoted by Ron Mills. Troy Mills does not appear to have any qualifications to assist the board with the annual audit by his professional CPA firm. There is no indication that the Navigation District has conducted any social media outreach over the last several years beyond posting notices of meetings and events which are put up by Letty Martinez, who is Ronald Mills' administrative assistant. Nothing on Troy Mills' social media page indicates that he has visited any sites or marine operations in Port Mansfield. The principal asset of the Navigation District, he lists no education beyond high school. He may have helped to design a logo for the Willacy County Navigation District. Figuring out the compensation that Mr. Mills was paying his son seemed at first more complicated. The existence of Fossil Consulting came up during the board's discussing this month about hiring of, and this is history, this is 4-year time, Chairman, about hiring a public relations firm, Border Affairs LLC for $72,000 a year. When the high cost of the contract was questioned by one of the commissioners, Mr. Mills told the board that since they had terminated 2 consulting firms, the Shepherd Group and Fossil Consulting, the monies saved were roughly $50,000. And so the Border Affairs contract looked affordable. Budget records confirmed that Mr. Mills was paying his son $2,500 a month. The commissioners at the time of Troy Mills hiring were Mr. Kinney, Alberto Trevino, Ernesto Cavazos, Stacy Reyes, and Stephen King. Thank you for your time, folks.
Marcy Vassar.
My name is Marcia Visser. I represent a group of parents and grandparents who live or visit Fort Mansfield on a frequent basis. We've been considering for several years now to improve a park that is currently located in town. It's next to the fire department. It has a basketball court on it. And it's got some broken down concrete and what looks like may have been a walking trail at one point around the lots. Now overgrown. I checked into the ownership of that lot. And the county records show it's owned by the Chamber of Commerce. When I checked with them, they know nothing about it. They don't claim ownership of it, and they don't want any responsibility for it. So I'd like to know in the records of the navigation district, who do you show owns these lots? And did I get with them to find out to further develop the park, to add a playground, pickleball, soccer court? Yeah. Tear out the existing cement that's there. And just improve what's there for the community. I can apply for grants to get the equipment in there. I can apply for grants to upkeep it, keep it up, mowed, that kind of thing. I can do fundraising. But I need to know who owns those lots. It's property ID 20226. No, 25226. And block number 17. Lots 17 through 26, 31 through 40, 73 through 82, 87 through 96. It's got a value of $300,000. So whoever owns the lot. I'd like to know that, but, yeah, I propose that you help me find out who owns it. So that I can move forward. And then don't stand in our way if we want to develop it more. And if I have to request it by FOIA, I'll do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Scott Hess.
Morning.
Morning.
So, more ditches on Navigation Drive on your new road since July of last year have standing water in them. Richard LaFever's house and halfway up my property. In case you guys don't know, my family owns the RV park as you come to town. So we have standing water that has been there basically since last July. Our ditches won't flow. The culvert underneath the entrance of the Navigation Drive in 186 is blocked off. They never took the plastic off of there. So every time we're getting rain, I'm getting flooded out like I've never seen before. Is there any way we can do something about these bar ditches? I mean, worst case scenario, the water is so brown. I spent 6 years working overseas and it's starting to look like a third world country. That's how brown the water's turned over there in some places. Worst case scenario, just get a vacuum truck in there and suck it dry for the time being. Because from a health standpoint, it's just breeding mosquitoes left and right. That's all I've got to say about it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next item, presentation by Texas Animal Health Commission on recent Nilgai population count and potential establishment of harvesting contract with Broken Arrow. We'll try it, see what happens.
No. All right, you all have a copy of it. I didn't know if this was gonna work correctly or not, so you guys in your folders have a copy of this presentation.
Presentation, yeah. Go ahead, Eli.
All right, good morning. So we're gonna do the follow-up presentation for the Nilgard management plan. We kind of gave an introduction to what we were proposing about 2 months ago now. So since then, we did have 2 Nilgard surveys done on the port. We're gonna go through that data today and kind of what recommendation on size of the herd that we think we should maintain on Port Mansfield. And then I believe the board has a proposal on how to move forward with what we're presenting on today. All right, so the purpose of this Nilgard management plan overall is for herd management, population control, maintain the Port Mansfield Nilgard herd at a recommended density rate. Cattle fever tick eradication, eradicating cattle fever ticks in Port Mansfield, whitetail and wildlife population, including whitetail, deer, and nilgai, and mitigate the spread of cattle fever ticks into northern Willacy County and beyond into the northern ranch countries. So the nilgai density on the ranches around Port Mansfield, they try to maintain a 1 nilgai per 20 acres. So they do a lot of hunting, a lot of harvesting in order to keep that population in check. As y'all know, nilgai have no natural predators in this area. Their 20 rate is pretty high. So it doesn't take very long for a nilgai population to get out of control. So the landowners do their part in trying to keep that population in check. So right now on Port Mansfield, we calculate about 1,000 grazable acres. Port Mansfield overall is much bigger than that, but when you subtract the residential areas, sand sheets, kind of lowland areas that are underwater most of the time, you have about 1,000 grazable acres, 700 acres on the north side, 186, and 300 acres on the south side of that. So if you use that 1 per 20 calculation for 1,000 acres, you want to maintain the nilgai herd size about 50 acres on Port Mansfield. So we did one nilgai census on March 13th, 2025. U.S. Border Patrol brought their high-tech drones, and we did a survey at night. Doing it at night was super successful. So the nilgai are, more calm. They're not roaming around
So you're able to get a more accurate count that way. On that day, we counted over 200 nilgai on Fort Mansfield. That's a density rate of about 1 for every 5 acres, and we want to be at 1 per 20. So if you base it on that, to get down to the 50 animals, you would have to harvest 150 nilgai. Okay. On March 31st, USDA Wildlife Services also conducted a survey. They came right after that huge rain that we had. So they were able to cover the entire fort like Border Patrol was. And they still counted 125 nilgai on the fort. So that's about a 1 per 8 acre density. So they recommended, based on that, to get down to the 50 animals to harvest 75 nilgai, right? So we have a range from 75 to 150 based on the surveys that were taken. So last time we met, Animal Health Commission was gonna come up with a plan, present it to the board, right? So us being a state agency, we don't have the leeway to do a lot of stuff that a private landowner can do, right? So we have to work with other agencies, accomplish, our mission. So we were gonna work with Wildlife Services, and we had a pretty good plan in place. Unfortunately, due to federal changes, Wildlife Services has been instructed to only allow their aviation division, so they have helicopters and they have shooters and all that do that kind of work. But their critical mission is predator control, harvesting, coyotes, stuff like that. So right now, with the change at the federal level, they were told only do predator control. So doing a nilgai harvest was really outside of that scope. So at this time, they're not able to do the harvest themselves. They can support doing surveys, drone surveys in the future, to keep doing surveys to monitor the nilgai population. But right now, they can't actually do the harvesting part of the management plan. So the next steps, thanks, sir. Next steps, the Port Authority board members develop and approve a plan to harvest up to 100 nilgai based off the Border Patrol and Wildlife Services census. And maybe harvest those animals in May or June before it gets even hotter. If it can't happen in May or June, I mean, you can do it later in the year or however y'all want to work it out. But that's our recommendation. And then repeat the nilgai census in the fall of 2025 prior to the whitetail deer season and harvest any more nilgai that's recommended. And then long-term, develop a herd management plan to control and maintain the herd at a recommended density rate based on the new census or surveys. The Animal Health Commission's part in a nilgai harvest would be to inspect the nilgai for cattle fever ticks. We'll collect all the ticks that we find, not just cattle fever ticks, for identification, and then we'll present our findings to the board at a future board meeting to discuss the infestation rates and kind of what we've seen. And we'll take it from there. That is all I have. We had some pictures of the drone nilgai survey, but unfortunately we don't have it on the screen, so we can't show y'all those today, but pretty neat. Those drone surveys at night with thermal imaging are pretty efficient. You can clearly see all the nilgai that were out there. You'd see groups of 20, 30 nilgai in sections. So it was a pretty efficient way to do the survey. So thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right, I passed out few handouts, literature on this company called Broken Arrow. I was fortunate to get to go on when they did the drone survey with the Border Patrol. That's a pretty impressive machine that they got. So I was there the whole time they did it and got to actually count how many nilgai they were seeing. I was given the name of this company by Neil Wilkins. He's the runs the East Foundation, and they use these guys pretty regular. The East Foundation, as y'all know, a lot of them, they have paid hunts out there, and they probably harvested somewhere around 100 already on paid hunts. And they've got Broken Arrow coming in tomorrow to take more because they just can't keep up with them. So I contacted, Tommy Taylor with Broken Arrow, and I've got their information here. They're first class operation. King Ranch uses them, El Saws uses them. All the big ranches use them to manage their, not only the deer, but the nail guy also. So they bring everything they need. They bring refrigerated trailers. They bring people to quarter and process the meat on site. The only thing we have to furnish is a pit for the carcass and the head and the guts. We can't remove it because we're under quarantine for one thing. And they pay us. They pay us $1.25 a pound carcass weight. And they take care of everything. We don't have to do anything to it. So I think it's if we're gonna have to do this, this is the way to go. I don't know how much longer we can put it off because, you know, these nail guy, from what I understand, have twins. Most of them have twins every year. So if we have 150, next year we're gonna have 300, 400. Then the next year you're gonna have, it exponentially increases. So we don't get them under control. And from what I understand, the high fence that's been put up on the south side is not going to be completed anytime soon. So we're still going to get encroachment of nail guy coming through into port. So go ahead.
Is any part of your plan, obviously if they pay us and then they take the produce or the meat, is there any way to propose that some of that can go to the local community that needs it? And I don't mean like me, I'm talking.
Yeah, I understand. And I know that question was going to come up. I did ask them about that. They don't like to do that. Now I'm not saying that they wouldn't. If we went to them and said, hey, you know, we want to keep a certain amount for the residents, but how do you distribute it? Who you decide gets what? So it becomes a little bit difficult to figure all that out.
What do they do with the meat?
They sell it.
They sell it.
So they make a profit out of it, I assume.
Yep.
And how much is that profit?
Don't have any idea.
I'd like to know.
Well, I mean, there's a rate sheet on the back there.
I see that price per paid, but that's what they pay us.
Right.
But how much do they sell it for?
I have no idea. I mean, they provide the helicopter, the refrigerated trucks, the
I
skinners, the processing, they provide everything. If we have to pay for that to get that done, it's no telling what it would cost.
Yeah.
Just the helicopter alone and the shooters. I mean, some of y'all probably been on some of those trips with helicopter trips and they're not cheap. So since we can't get help from the state, we've got to decide, you know, if we want to do this on our own or not do anything, but I don't think not doing anything is the thing to do.
So we're looking at harvesting 75.
They're recommending 150. I really don't think we need to take 150,
Between 75 and 100.
75 and 100. Okay.
And like you said, you're gonna have influx from your ranch to the south until that fence is put up, and they definitely do go back and forth and
Yeah.
them. So I think it's a good number to start with, and if you come back in the fall and do another one, then you'll see.
Do another survey.
Then after the fence is up, do another one and see what it looks like once the fence is up, and then you can, you know, attack it more precise from there once you have control.
Yeah.
Herd import management.
I'm actually going out tomorrow to observe how they do this. So I had to jump through hoops to get permission to go on the ranch, believe it or not. But I was invited to come out tomorrow and watch how they harvest. So I'll have a better idea how they do things. But these guys come highly recommended. They're insured. They got liability insurance with 5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all covered. And that was our first question, you know, is liability insurance. If they are, I mean, this is what they do. The guy told me they do this every Thursday, every week of the year. They harvest year round just to keep up with the nail guy on the big ranches. They covered 200,000 acres of King Ranch that they're responsible for managing the nail guy herd on. So if you have any more questions, I'll try to answer them.
What about the just as other options? What about the Texas Youth Hunt? Would they be interested in doing anything?
I don't see that being feasible because Del Guy won't come to a feeder, so you have to actually go after them. And they're long range shots, known at the time,
High caliber
rifles. I just don't think that would be a good idea.
I've talked to my, what's his name, Mitchell or whatever,
Mhm.
and they have a half a dozen kids in the state that they think would qualify for it, but they couldn't take out the quantities we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just asking.
Make a motion, we adopt their proposal to take 75
75.
mill guy out. However, I'd also like to attach to that motion that the money that the district receives for the nil guy be put aside for the youth hunt program to try and provide people coming down for the youth hunt some extra
Incentive.
Resources.
incentives. Yeah,
It's a good idea.
I mean, I think that if we're serious about managing this stuff, that's what we need to do.
Okay.
Well, we have to do it, that's for sure. And it sounds like there's no other options.
I've got a question before we move forward. On this, the cost, what they're gonna pay it or whomever, is this what they propose to the big ranches and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think they've updated their rate sheet because he told me $1.25 and it's $1 on here, but I've been told $1.25 by 3 different people that use them, so that's what it'll be. And that money goes straight to the navigation district, and then we can earmark it for the youth hunts.
Somewhere around $50,000
Yeah.
per hunt. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
You
chunk.
gotta do it.
Yeah.
I second that motion.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Kendrick, seconded by Commissioner Trevino. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Sandy.
Eric, and this is gonna be every Thursday?
No, they do,
To schedule a date with them.
yeah.
Yeah, one time.
Ron's kind of let me handle this, but he's got so much other stuff going on and delegating is not a bad thing. So, that's why I'm looking forward to going out there tomorrow to see how they operate. Any more questions? Before we move on? Good. Number 4, Board of Affairs, Public Relations, Performance Report, Professional Background Information, List of employees and associates, list of professional references, resources, list of present and past clients. Morning.
Thanks for everyone. Been a good month. Last time I was here, you asked me, gave me some homework. I'm here with that homework. More importantly, more than anything, you asked me about what are the principles, the ideologies, the methodology that we're gonna use into bringing awareness, is what we call the relations to the activities that are happening here in this boardroom, there in that office, in the community as well. So this past month, we went back and first of all, we prepared, we listened to Ron, we listened to some of the things that he's going here. We did an extensive research and analysis of all the things that are put out on the media for that. And we came up with a game plan for you, which I'm going to present that to you. The game plan, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to bundle up all these items that you have on the agenda all in one presentation. That way we can get through them in streamlined fashion. But what is going to be very obvious when I present to you is that we believe that there are two outreaches here. One of them is obviously what's happening here, the decisions that you're making, the progressive nature of what you want to go, your ambitions and what you want to do here. And the second thing is the community here that is has some awareness, and you have some growing pains, which are very obvious in the presentations this morning. So it's those kinds of these two elements of which we believe are the most important ones. And we put a game plan for you for them. I want to present these to you so that I can take back feedback from you, because we are anxious to start, we're willing to start. You'll also have my recommendations hear what we should be doing, next 30 days. And alongside that, you also asked me for information regarding the company, where we are. I know we're a young company. And I know sometimes these some young companies, we fly somewhat under the radar, but we certainly have the clientele, we certainly have the expertise and experience. And I'll show that to you here in a bit. I'll leave that to the end. More importantly, I want to show you what we believe is a game plan. But I can't proceed without your input, your thoughts, comments, or ideas of what we feel is the next steps for this. I won't say. Get you one right.
Got it for the public?
Yes. I'll tell you what, I can email them to you. One more. Okay, title, see that. The first page, Williston County Navigation District, PR marketing plan for Williston County Navigation District, the objectives. 5 strong objectives, create a progressive narrative around the port operations and development. Number 2, educate the public and the progressive growth of the navigation district. 3, build trust with the local community. 4, neutralize misinformation on social media and local podcasts. And 5, build a long-term communication strategy. Most of these are very general. In any government, you're going to get your cheerleaders and you're going to get the folks that are against the activities. And sometimes the information that is happening here gets diluted or gets misinterpreted. And hopefully our firm is here to say, well, this is the real deal. This is exactly what's happening. This is what's going on. Any thoughts or comments on that first page?
No.
No. Second page, the branding. So after we came up with the ideologies, we said, okay, how do we commence the branding in here? And we came up with several different ideas of which we all like. And those are listed on the left-hand side column. On the right-hand side, I included mission statements for each one of these branding ideas. That doesn't mean we're going to pick one, but it means that we can work with these ideas, with these themes, and it doesn't have to be all in one shot, but we can develop and manifest the idea that goes behind each one of these branding principles. The first one is general community and progress themes. And that has 5 subsections: Port Mansfield Forward, Stronger Together, Port Mansfield Rising, Progress of Port Mansfield United. Again, these are branding ideas that we can transform into the narratives that we're going to provide. And what I mean by narratives is the content that we're going to be putting together for you through your media outreach. And I'll get to that here in a bit. I'll give you an example of the first mission statement. Port Mansfield Forward is dedicated to fostering unity, progress, innovation in our community. Through collaboration, local engagement, and strategic growth, we aim to create a thriving future for residents. And those are the taglines we use for media outreach. Now, all these, anything on this page doesn't have to be agreed upon today. What I'm here to tell you is that we have an idea of how to do it, but I can't do this without you, your overall ideology, or your overall thoughts about what we should pick first or what we shouldn't pick first. You are the ones leading this community. You are the board that is leading the community. You're the board that's leading the governance of this thing. And so I truly welcome your thoughts, comments, and ideas, especially on this page. Again, it doesn't have to be now. I'm going to provide you with information for how you can reach me, or you can ask me to come back next month, and I'll be glad to listen to what you have to say. Any thoughts, comments, or ideas on this page? Next page. I created messaging pillars. 4 of those: economic impact and job creation. 2, environmental responsibility. And that's very important because I think at first I questioned this, but some of the people that we talked to said, well, the port is still a recreational area. It's an area where people want to go out and visit and people want to go out and do their fishing. We got to make sure that we keep it clean. We got to make sure that we're environmentally friendly. People nowadays, they see that it's not environmentally friendly or it's not using any kind of logic with being that, then they think it's the dirty port, or they think it's something that you may not want to see. It's not aesthetically clean, or it's not aesthetically pleasing. I heard a while ago something about some junk that got stationed somewhere. Well, it's those kinds of things that we want to bring to the attention of using our media outreach. Community benefit and transparency show how the district supports local services, heritage, and safety. These are the pillars. These are using the branding that we're going to be using. These are the foundation of those ideas. Any questions on this? Phase one, the first 30 to 60 days. That's what we want to do. Item number one, internal alignment. Designate a spokesperson for here. We've talked to Ron about this. I said Ron has, since he's the director, there needs to be a voice here. And since he's here 24/7 or the majority of the day, there needs to be somebody in that capacity to handle that. Train staff on unified talking points and brief all port commissioners on all the activities that are happening. That anything that comes in our airspace and what we receive, I want the board to understand that we just picked this up. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. Ron met with this. Ron met with that. There's things that the staff is doing. If we know about it, you're going to be knowing about it. Narrative reset. Draft and publish a state of the port open letter on the website. I like to do that once a month. Release a short video message. I would also like to do that. And that's part of the entire package. Launch a hashtag PortFacts Texas to centralize accurate information online. The third thing is a rapid response. Set up a monitoring system for social media podcasts using free and low cost tools. And this is extremely important with with AI now playing a big role in some of the media outreach. It's really easy for AI, for the computer to pick up some of the language that is being driven into our website or being driven into our social media pages and direct it to where it needs to be directed or answer it. We do not want voices to go unheard. Any questions on this one? Phase two, after that, the 60 to 90 days. Own media push. And what does that mean? Own media push is actively distributing content to audiences using the channels of brand directly owned and controlled. The media that we're going to be controlling, our social media, our webpage, we have to use those things in order to have the special public, the information that needs to be out there. Post weekly updates to the port's social media. Launch the Port Stories campaign. And this is all done through the social media or the website that we're going to be talking about here today. Local media relations. We also use the folks that are out here in the Willacy County and the other freedom newspapers that are out there, asking about stories, asking about what's going on. Well, we need to be active on that. Host a press roundtable with trusted reporters. These are just ideas that we want to initiate. We want to introduce. Pitch editorial stories to local outlets. Let's see if they want to print out some of the things that are happening here. Secure monthly column or radio segment with a friendly outlet. I think that would be extremely beneficial if we secure a podcast or we secure some kind of outlet so we can do a monthly segment on this thing. Community forums and listening sessions, organized town halls or coffee chats. I already know that the town halls are a big issue here. And I think there's a way that we could do those in a way that is extremely fruitful and extremely showcases some of the concerns, some of the challenges, and some of the direction that the board is taking. Any comments or ideas on this succeeding audience? These are the line of X page is the long term, phase 3, and that will be ongoing. That will be after we get these type of foundation processes going. Number one, the podcast counter turbulence, launch a short-term podcast or video service. Doesn't have to be these big podcasts, but if we can get on the computer and put it on the website, some of these things that we're talking about. If we have an interview, we have some folks from the community, or we have some folks in government, in the local governments that want to talk about a little bit about the recreation or talk about the governance of the grants, or anything that is happening, I like to have that voiced and open. Community partnerships. Any type of partnership that we're creating here with either the schools or some of the environmental folks, I like to also publish those or make those known. Metrics and optimization, the track, sentiment analysis, website traffic, event attendance, and media pickup and podcast mission. That's just a fancy way of saying I'm going to keep track of everything that is happening, put it in such a metric and such a graph that I can understand it, what is more important than the others, what is happening, which are the highlights and which are the boring issues and which are the ones that are attracting more attention. That doesn't mean we're going to focus on one. That means we also need to get the one that's least attracted on steroids, or give it a little bit of lift, or give it a little bit of push, give it more attention or more focus on it. Any questions on the?
I just want to make a comment on number 2, community partnership. I really want to see us get more involved with the local schools, the local Willacy County schools. Years back, 20 years ago, I started taking kids from La Sara and Raymondville fishing. And we would take, and they thought I was crazy because I would take 300 kids fishing. We need to find a way to promote that, get those relationships going. So I really want to stress number 2 as a very important part of it, because, you know, Willacy County is not Port Mansfield. It's a navigation district that stretches all the way to La Sara. And we have a lot of taxpayers in that area. And we can service those kids, those families. It's a win-win for everyone.
Any other comments for this page? Go to the next one. The next 2 pages are just some of the media platforms that we're going to be focusing, we're going to be starting on, and I'll get to those here in a little bit. So in order for us to do everything that I just mentioned, we need that platform, the vehicle, the something on wheels to get it going, and that vehicle, more important than anything, is the website. We can use social media like Facebook and Instagram, and we are planning to use those. But no matter how much input or content you create in those platforms, there's still a home place that you may want to go back and say, okay, I want to know more of that. Okay, somebody's commenting on this, or somebody's saying this, or there's this thing that the port put out on Instagram for this. I want to know more. Where do we go for that? And so, and that's the website. Now, the website was was a very interesting endeavor this whole month, because you already have a very good relationship with NPC Studios, and we introduced ourselves to them and wanting to get some of the information that we needed in order to put a game plan for them, because we are going to use that website and that platform, but we're going to add some more things to it. It lacks a little bit of more elements that we need in order to get these ideas that I just went over to them over with you. And I want to add more pages to it, and in order to address some of these things. So I looked over your contractual agreement with NPC, dated back for 2014. We dissected it and we looked at all where we says, okay, what is it that we can do? What is it that we can take advantage of? Because we already have a relationship, and a very good relationship, and I want to keep some of those elements intact. You're already paying a fee for a service on that website. I want to take advantage of that and use that. Now, mind you, imagine them being let me use this metaphor so you can understand how this works. The NPC company manages your website. That's like having a bank take care of your money. What you do with your money is totally up to you, how you spend it and how you invest it. That's where we come in. So knowing that there's 2 ways of doing this thing, either one of those 2 ways, it'll get you the same result. Either we do it or they do it. You're already paying them to do it, and I think you have a good relationship with them. So we can ask them to do it, but it's totally up to the board. You want me to do it, I'll be glad to do it. But I'm telling you at this moment, we're gonna be adding some more pages and we're gonna be adding the content. We're gonna be, like I said, spending this money and cultivating the money and making it worth your while. So the first thing we asked was, does the client own this website or is this a managed site? Is this, who maintains the rights to the content? And your answer is there. And basically what that page is saying is that you own the content, they just manage the maintenance of the website. Like I said, it's like a bank. They just hold it for you. They'll fix it. If you have a problem, they'll fix it or they'll add some maintenance to it. Again, we can also do that. It's all included in our fee. Does the client own the domain? Whose account holds the domain? Port Mansfield owns the domain. You guys own the domain. For convenience and technical, the domain is currently managed through the NPC Studios, register account, client's name. Again, it's just a lot of the same thing that I just explained. They manage it, they control it. You're already paying them for it. Aside from the website management support, please specify what else is included in this package and if those services are added value, specifically cost and deployment. Again, these are questions that we felt were important enough for us to dive in and get involved in using that website as a vehicle that we want to translate these ideologies. And there is a bullet point of some of the technical or the performance responsibilities and duties that they have for you or with you. Any questions?
So you're saying that MPC manages our website right now?
Yes, they do. And they also, more than anything, they maintain it. But like I said, they manage it. They don't put the content in there. They don't do any of these. It's like they're just holding your money. It's like they consider it like the metaphor that I use. It's just a bank account where you put your money.
So with that said, then I think we need that entity, that person that gives them the content to put in there.
That's where we come.
I think that's what we were lacking. Okay.
The community outreach, the Facebook, the
Yeah.
Instagram, all the other LinkedIn, all the other, they don't do anything. They manage it. They'll fix it for you. If it's broken, they'll take care of it for you. Whether they can do it, I'm sure they can, but that's a whole other story. That's a whole other contract that you may want to consider talking to them about.
And I know this time you've been working busy trying to lay the foundation to move forward with the plan.
Absolutely, yeah. I wanted to come here so you can understand where this is going. This is not just adding a couple of events to your website. This is not adding some things to your Facebook or for Instagram. This is telling a narrative and discussing healthy, progressive dialogue, challenges, burdens, concerns, those sort of things. I think those sort of things need to be highlighted or showcased in such a manner that the governance of this board address it and can do something about it.
So this, over here,
Any question?
you had a cost associated, I guess, with maintaining this.
You already being done to them.
Yes, but, yes, ma'am. Why is it included in here? Is this something that if we elect to do so would be an additional charge or?
The question is what?
Something about $725.
Yeah, it's on that page, let me see,
That's how much we're already paying for that service.
Oh.
Yeah, you're already paying.
Yeah.
You're paying that, yeah.
Yeah, you're already.
I was
It-
thinking,
It's a good website. It's really a good website. And you understand, a long time ago, when the websites being started, sometime way back in the early 2010s and so forth, it was hard to build a website. It was, you had to go to school and you had to go out and training. NBC was one of the leading companies that was out there doing this thing, and they did it very well. It was tough to do this sort of thing. Schooling, I guess, was limited at the time, but this website building there's so many companies, there's so many applications now doing that website. There's a couple of them that are the hallmarks of of doing something and doing something in the category that you want. But you still have to put content in it. You still need to bring the information
Yeah.
and put it in there. It's one thing to build it. That's fine. That's okay. But it doesn't mean it has gas and a motor and it goes. It's just there. So that's what they did for you. And that's what they did for you. And again, these folks have been doing it for a very, very long time, doing very well.
We just need to customize it to our
That is correct.
specific needs.
That is correct. You need to
Yeah.
give it a direction and you need to take it to places for youth that think it makes more benefit for the school.
Do believe that metaphor that you used hit it right on the head. Metaphor that.
Okay.
Put money.
I hope so, so you're gonna, because, you know, a lot of this technical stuff is, it's a bit, nerdy. But, and I'm sorry if I disrespect anybody, but it is technical and it is somebody, it seems like it's calculus or algebra. But there is a method to that matter. There is simple math to this sort of thing now. But I'm hoping I can translate that as well. Yes. Next page is the direction and the recommendations. This is what we recommend after reading all this, after listening to you, hearing what you want to say, showcase the need to present a vision for the website and the purpose behind the new section. I just did that with you. It's not simply adding articles to the existing website. That's not what we're here for. We're here to create a different perspective for the board and the community. Restructuring and add new purpose to the site. We're going to do that. We're going to add 4 new pages to that website. Once agreed on the new format and new home, our team will then build a scope of work for the site. The board can decide if they want the MPC team or for us to build it. Again, we have no preference over it. We can build it, they can build it. It's not good. You're already paying them for maintaining it. They can do that. We'd love to work with them alongside for this thing. And for next month, I want to start our social media pages. I want to create a Facebook and Instagram page right off the bat. I want to start doing that. Once you give me the blessing for everything that I've discussed here with you, I'm hoping that we have a timeline for that. I think it's a good idea. I think these are good principles. I think these are good ideologies. If you, I welcome any comments, thoughts, or ideas. Not at this very moment. You can call me or can reach out to me or I can come over here and meet with you. And we can explore other sentiments or other directions that you may want to include as well. But this is what we feel is a neutral, a progressive, and a valuable direction for what you want to present community, to the other governments, to the whole, to anybody who's interested in. I like to assign it someone in the team for a primary administrator. And that's something pretending that we start these Facebook and this Instagram. Ron here is very busy and the staff here is very busy. We'd like to have our team to be the administrator. That way we can switch it on a drop of a dime or change the direction if something is out of place, something is wrong or something. We need to add more content to it. I don't want to waste time on that. I want to be able to do that quick. That's the end of that presentation. The next page is, again, some of the homework that you asked me to do. And again, I don't blame you for it, but some companies kind of new. I gave you a list of the cities, past and present clientele. Most of these are current, but most of these, they have us under contract. When they need something, they call us in. You see that? I can go through each and every one of them. For references, most of the mayors and the city managers for these places are willing to share with you our performance, our expertise, that sort of thing. I didn't include them here, but if you want for a specific city, I didn't want to put their cell numbers. I'll give you their cell numbers and their email addresses if you want to talk to any of these folks. But the mayors and the city managers are the best point of contact for any of these cities to work with them closely. And the next page is the immediate staff that you're going to be dealing with. If you see them here with me, these are them. Diego Sainz, he's a project engineer. He's a civil engineer graduate from UTRGV. Jessica Campos, Cornell grad. She's doing project management right now in Colorado. Ramiro Garcia, he's an English guy. He's English rhetoric graduate from UTRGV as well. Emmett Wells, former veteran, Afghanistan. He's the tech guru and all this. Aaron Trevino happens to be, he's also a,
No relation for the record.
Aaron Trevino is actually a county commissioner from Brooks County, and he's joined the team. Myself, and I only have two associates in my company. One of them is Dr. Carlos Marin. He is not a medical doctor. He is a civil engineer doctor from Harvard University. My partner, and the other one is Steve Guerra. That makes him familiar. He is the chairman of the board for Port Browns. Those are the only partners I have, the only associates I have. I work with them very closely on all sorts of things, mostly economic development, public relations, and grant writing, getting money down here to South Texas. And I'll be glad to share with you those cell numbers for them if you guys want to reach out to them. And that's it. Like I said, I don't need comments now. I would appreciate them, but if you want to talk to me on a separate note, we're moving forward on securing a Facebook and Instagram. We're going to start with that, but I do want to start working with NPC and restructuring your website. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item. Discussion and possible action on proposal to provide a 3% closing fee to any licensed realtor bringing lots into Newport subdivision to closing.
During the workshop, we discussed the fact that the Eastport subdivision number 2, we offered a commission to realtors who brought in lots and were able to take them to closing. And thought that we had not offered that in Newport because we weren't actively going super fast and trying to sell them. But now that we're at that point, now that I think it'd be a good idea if we did give these guys the typical 3% commission for representing those lots and getting people to lease them. Comes in about out of a $60,000 per lot, there would be about $1,800 per lot that would go to a commission. We'd still retain them.
Would we need to pick a specific realtor or, because they're all MLS?
Yeah, they're all, yeah. It gives everybody a chance. There's roughly 4 active realtors in Port that are constantly moving on our properties for various people. So, I mean, and there's people that come from out of town that sometimes actually do it, but we have 4 active ones. So I recommend we let anybody who brings it to closing get the percentage. So.
Sure.
I agree.
It's a good idea.
Mhm.
Well, we need to sell them.
I so move.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Trevino, seconded by Commissioner Cavazos. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Discussion possible action on proposal to increase annual debris fee from its current $50 to $75.
Yeah, there was brought up during the workshop also about the debris fee, how it's been the same for quite some time, and the fact that people are paying less per year than most cities are charging per month. And they get basically debris pickup every single day. It's Wednesday's a designated day, but just about any time they see something on the street, they go pick it up. So because we provide that service, the recommendation was to increase the amount. During the workshop, it was said that we were at 25, we're going to 50, but we've been at 50 for 4 years already. So it's actually 50 to 70.
And how many days per month?
We pick up every Wednesday.
Everyone.
That's the designated day.
So.
But if there's something
every
that's in
week.
the street or something that's blocking.
In between.
Pretty good.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I had a question.
Mhm.
Would that be part of the PUD?
The debris fee is currently and always has been part of the navigation district. You bought the truck, you maintain it, and your personnel actually operate the truck.
Okay, well, it just seemed like it would be
Yeah.
part of the garbage and trash pickup and all that.
Somewhere down in history, it was established that way, and that's just the way it's remained.
Right.
And not to say it's not a doable option to switch it, but as of right now, that's the way it's.
I'm all in agreement on this, don't get me wrong, but I think that we need to, in the future, consider some process so that the gentleman that operates the vehicle, the truck, knows which place to pick up and which not to, meaning that construction stuff, you hire somebody to remodel your house, it's their responsibility to haul it out.
Correct.
If you do it yourself,
We had that discussion in the workshop and it's going to be implemented in the following workshop next week and that will be addressed there, yes.
And why isn't this a monthly fee? Why is this an annual fee?
It's just when we send out the lease payment every year, it's just attached to the lease payment. And so that's why it's listed as an annual fee. Because we don't bill through the navigation district on a monthly basis, it only goes out once a year.
This 48,000, is that, what does that cover? What is that?
Basically, it's just it's put into our general revenues just because that's what we've always done with it. But our discussion in the workshop was that, we have a truck that's only 4 or 5 years old, so it'll be around hopefully for many more years to come. But eventually it'll need to be replaced at $180,000-$200,000. Well, we're bringing in 48,000. It takes us 5 years just to buy a new truck. That doesn't count the fees that we pay to go to the dump and dump it off. It costs us 5 years worth of revenue just to buy another truck. So.
And it doesn't count the manpower.
Correct.
Correct.
No labor. So this is just the funds.
And fuel,
It's 75. That's correct. It's $75. You're just stockpiling money that when 4 or 5 years from now, when you need a vehicle, you'll have it. So.
So maybe moving to maybe once, we need to have the truck go every week or maybe once a month with that.
Right now it's once a week and I don't know that we would want to go beyond that. Only because it seems like we're in perpetual remodeling for Mansfield. Everybody's constantly doing it. So if we did, the town would be covered with mountains of just debris. So the idea of going every week is a fantastic idea. It makes the town have that image that it's always had of being this perfect little place. And I think it's great. But is this going to be our final number for what we charge for a debris fee? Probably not. I mean, I would say we're going to have to do it again. Because like I said, this only lets us buy a truck every 5 to 7 years. It doesn't even cover the cost of that driver, his insurance, and any fuel to operate it and driving to Edinburgh and the Edinburgh fees. That's not even part of it.
And we need to put the pencil to those things as we're doing our budget.
Yeah.
What does it cost and because then we can justify the fee that needs to be charged.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to cover our expenses.
Absolutely. That's right.
I
Minimum,
feel like 75.
plus pay,
I know,
plus-
doesn't make
plus budget for depreciation so that when the truck breaks down, that we have the money for it.
Well, why don't we just postpone this and bring it up at the budget meeting?
And in the workshop.
Discuss it again.
because here, Bill, I pay about 350 a month. I mean, a year. And if you have 2 trash cans.
Yeah.
That's just
it's
trash.
more
They're just trash,
Yeah.
debris.
Yeah, this is debris. And that's a week. Wow.
precise.
I think they do that for us, what, once a month?
Once a month.
Most cities do that
Yeah.
like once a month.
Yeah, I agree. Let's look at it during our budget workshop.
This is just debris, right?
Yeah.
And how much do we charge, or do we
So
charge?
you don't charge any.
For
Public
trash.
usually takes.
Okay. It's just debris.
All right, we'll just postpone that till budget meeting. Okay, discussion and possible action to increase lease rates on small boat basin leases by 5%.
Sounds like a massive markup, but the total, what that totals up to is $18,800 increase per year. Bringing our total up to 300, and right now we're collecting about 377,500 a year. That'll take it to 396,500 a year.
So I can tell you, there's lots of repairs that need to be done on the splits right now.
That's right.
You go to,
Let me say one thing though, some of the repairs that we've recently done, like the electrical and the substructure under what, D or something,
yeah,
we've got some funds that are set aside for Smallcraft Basin improvement.
right.
So I suggestion would be we tap those funds instead of M&O.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
That's what they're
Because
for?
before the workshop discussion, since I had been here, when I inherited this position, all these 11 years, it was always referred to as a small boat basin emergency. For like if the roof blew off in a windstorm or whatever. So it's been left alone. But after we had the discussion, I went and looked it up and certainly it is listed as an improvement fund. So you can theoretically use it wherever you may need to. So.
I don't know if you noticed the roof down on the end of E-Dock. The
Yeah.
ridge cap's all peeled back off of it and it's gonna eventually blow off.
Absolutely.
And there's dock repairs that need to be done, electrical needs to be done.
Yeah.
Now, comparative to other, and I know, Mr. Kennedy, you mentioned something. How do we compare on the fees with other similar docks?
If you go to Rockport or Corpus or any of the other ports, a lot of them were half. And a lot of those aren't even covered. So we've got some of the cheapest boat slip fees on the Gulf Coast. You go to Port Isabel, you know, Freeport, to park a big boat in Freeport's like, 20,000 a year.
And we're charging how much?
I think the
2,700.
E-Dock is like 27, yeah.
Yeah, we need to look at that as well.
But just to keep up with the maintenance on them, you know, I mean, that's one of the first things you see when you drive by my house. You see all the boat slips, and you know, you got docks that are falling apart. People like to walk down the seawall. You got walkways down there that you can't even walk on. Some of them, they're not even there anymore. Yeah. And you got electrical boxes that's got holes in them, on all the docks. You know, the electrician is slowly working on that, and he has replaced some of the ones that were really bad, but, it needs a wholesale overhaul, basically.
Yeah. And again,
It's one of our big revenues.
we need to put, and those revenues are also used for M&O as well.
Right.
So we need to balance. I'm all for the 5%. But I think down the line, we need to think about, you know, we've planned a small increase, incremental increase, but I think it's time to be rethinking about this in the next 3 to 5 years.
And we need to get a list of repairs that need to be done soon.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
Bring it up and maybe try to.
Tap in that
get cost on
that
it.
sludge fund that we have for improvements. Okay. And hope that there's no storm coming.
Yeah,
And the
really.
cost of everything is already up to our cost of
Hey.
material. So-
Yeah, yeah.
So you can make a motion on it.
Yeah, we need a motion on that.
To accept the 5%.
Motion made by Commissioner Reyes, second by Commissioner Cavazos. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Port Director's report.
Okay, the first item on here is block 34, lots 44 and 45. It's property that has fallen unfortunately into significant disrepair. As of 30 minutes before the meeting today, I finally received paperwork saying that the last occupant is now officially able to sell that property. So I suspect that it will be sold soon, and we will put the same provision that we did with the North Shore property when it was in such bad condition, that whoever leases it has 60 days to remove the improvements. But I suspect this is going to happen in a pretty timely manner now that he has paperwork that reflects it. I'm going to give this to Allison when she leaves today for her to read over. But it looks like everything's in order for that person to, when his partner died, he didn't have anything that showed that he had a right to sell the property. So we've been waiting here in limbo. Now we have that. So now he should be able to sell it to, I know 2 people who are actively bothering him almost every day that they want to get the property. So I suspect it'll be sold quickly, and it'll just be a provision that says you have 60 days to remove the existing.
I think between now and the time it sells, they need to go in there and mow it and clean it up.
Did he mow last week? I know he went in and worked on the inside of the house to pick it up, clean up the door, but as far as the mowing, I don't know. I haven't been back since last Tuesday.
Looked pretty bad last time.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
He could have gone in there yesterday and mowed it.
No, he's been gone again for several days, but I know last Tuesday it needed to be mowed badly, so. And what was the other one?
Update on live stream.
Oh, live stream. As you see, the equipment is here. It's in the room. We are testing, as of now. As you noticed, getting the actual presentations out where people can see it. The idea is that anything we show on there will be shown to everybody in the world. So that's one more of the glitches that we're trying to tweak. Next Wednesday's meeting, we'll have it again. That next Wednesday's meeting, we intend to actually send it out for people to see it. And by the June meeting, we will start saving those minutes on a site that will be basically our official meeting from this point on.
We're going to include these meetings, this meeting?
No, this meeting and the last meeting, we haven't listed
test
as tested. We have the video, but we listed as private, not public viewing. The reason being, for example, last meeting, it worked. I thought it was working really well, but when we reviewed it, the head of the table wasn't ever there, never saw him.
I don't
So
have a
we
problem.
noticed- So we moved it this way a little bit more. So now I moved to this side of the room to make it work a little bit better. And so we're working out the little bugs. And like we said, we just found another bug today. So hopefully by next week, we'll have it fixed. So June meeting, it'll be 100% permanent.
All right, next item. Review and discussion on building authorizations issued for the month of April 25th. Not very many.
More fences and no roof.
Next item, review and consideration of residential commercial transfers of leases, boat stall lease, transfers, and collateral transfer of lease. There's only two.
Any special provisions or anything we need to be aware of?
Any of these. We did have one that submitted a package for review for you today that I rejected because they submitted a survey or a plat that did not have the engineer's signature on it and did not, it said a page and volume and page number in the county record. But I know for a fact that couldn't have happened because the county would never have accepted that survey without Mr. Rubalcaba's signature on it. So I rejected it and told them they needed to get a new survey. So it'll be next month.
We'll need a motion to accept. Make a motion.
You make a motion to move to accept.
Motion made by Commissioner Reyes. Second by Commissioner Kendrick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Review and consideration of checks and vouchers and any discussion and comments on monthly budget report.
Little confused looking at some of the check. Big one on there, it says audit.
On the check register,
Yeah. On the AP aging summary. You got a copy of it? It was included in our package.
I'll go get out Virginia right now and ask her.
Well, I've already asked her about it.
Yeah.
I'm still confused. It's $122,000.
Or not?
Oh, that was a correction line. I know what it is. That's where the auditor.
How would it be on the AP aging? That indicates we gotta cut a check for $122,000.
Again, I think it translated into she had to move funds from one place to another, but I will.
Need
She
to
may-
verify that.
Yeah, she mentioned it to me yesterday afternoon,
Yeah.
but I'll need to get more details.
You said something about our auditor said one thing or another, but
Correct.
if we're moving from one account to another, I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I'm sure
We're gonna
that's what.
cut a check for 122, then
Well, I guarantee you, I haven't sent any checks for no 122. So I'm sure with the movement of funds that she got from, I know she talked to Samantha, the auditor, earlier this week, or maybe at the end of last week. But anyway, she talked to her recently and he said, oh yeah, you need to move that from here to there. So that's all I can recall of the conversation, but I'll follow.
it was like it's in the wrong category.
Yeah, basically. I think it mostly was bills that came in that were for last fiscal year, but they came in right at the end of the year and the checks weren't cut before the end of the year. And so the checks were cut after the first of the year, so they made her move monies to cover those differences in checks. I'm 100%.
basically a balance sheet entry.
Exactly is what it is.
But
It's not really. There you go.
hey, I'm sorry, I didn't retain all that you told me this morning. Go ahead, I'm gonna have to tell you this.
We got time.
Your little note at the bottom, does this make sense?
No.
Well, if it doesn't make sense to you, it might not make sense to me.
Just reversing a portion that's related to a pay application. Basically, it's
Yeah.
a journal entry.
Exactly.
But when I saw that, it kind of concerned me.
Yeah.
Might have to pass the hat.
But with that said, any time that we make an amendment, I know we talked about amendments, they should come before us so that we know that we move X amount of dollars from this.
Should be noted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Aside from that, anything out of the
Yeah, it was
ordinary?
pretty quiet about that.
Oh, we had another border collision.
Border collision was a repair to a vehicle. I think that was
Is
a
that what it
police
is?
vehicle. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was corrosion. Wills brought it out in one of the vehicles, so they took it there and they fixed it. It wasn't an actual collision. It was just a
Okay.
deterioration of a vehicle.
Nobody had a wreck.
No. Just deterioration of a vehicle.
Got quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
Robert, would you pass that down to Lefty, please?
This one? Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And, can you give us a quick update? Where are we at on our project? Not the seawall. I know we just started that project.
Everything else is completed. All we're waiting for, they've already done the final walkthrough with the state, and the state's considered the road to be substantially complete, but they have to go doing things such Mr. Hess recommends, talking about the water. Yeah, the drainage ditch has to be cleaned out. The covers over the cross flows or need to be uncovered. They're actually silt fence, are not plastic, so material does get, water does flow, but there's so much stuff pushed up against it, it's kind of blocking it. But those are the things that are lacking. The lights were put in, but the service, the AEP hadn't flipped the switch to turn them on yet. So that one's, all that's left is some little odds and ends. There's a retainage on it, but the state has instructed our project manager, the engineers, to levy a $500 a day fee for every day they're late, and they've been late for quite a while. So what that final fee looks like, I don't know what the final number is going to be, but I suspect it's probably going to be around 50 to 70,000 to close that out completely, and it'll go away.
So that
Seawall just-
contractor has to pay that?
He has to pay his share at $500 a day. So if his retainage is like $100,000, well, they take $500 a day out of that for every day he's late. So
And
then they'll,
we'd be responsible for
whatever.
end of that. Right?
That's right. And I don't know what that is. I don't know.
So what do you?
I will know before next week.
What do
I'm
Gonna ask
Yes.
the budget meeting.
Yeah. What do you have? Just estimate
gonna say it's gonna be probably around 70,000.
our share.
Yeah, probably.
So that leaves us one project open in that
That's just see.
yard.
That's right. And that's actually, I've already been to and talked to the people at First Community. And I'll be visiting with them hopefully later this week and hopefully. They have all the paperwork they requested and it's in their possession, so.
Need a motion to accept.
Come on.
Motion made by Commissioner Trevino, second by Commissioner Cavazos. All in favor?
Right.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next item, executive session. Closed session pursuant to section 551.074 Texas Government Code. Follow up on discussion as intended during March 12th, 2025 meeting of the appointment, employment, evaluation, duties, discipline, or dismissal of the executive port director as a part of the planned WCND review process. Closed session pursuant to section 551071 Texas Government Code for legal briefing regarding municipal incorporation inside the boundaries of the Willacy County Navigation District. We're going to close session. Dismantle this.
No, I'm gonna just count.
Unplug it.
No, yeah. Now supposedly we hit a pause.
When everything else fails.
Don't pause it, then if we close it, then it doesn't record the close of this meeting.
And if it doesn't work, turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah, so. 11:53, we're back in open session and we are adjourned.
This is what I usually do at the housing authority. To close session.
See you in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, 26.
Wet,
Yeah,
get sure.
and open session, we'll go in open session, just
Okay,
just for the minute.
okay, yeah.
Wait, if anybody questions.
Signed everything. I think I signed everything here. We already signed.
Gotcha.
Sign over here just to make sure before I go. Okay. The, and then the minute box key somewhere in here.
That's going to the VA.
Have my mailbox, Kim.
No, I took it out last night. I checked the mail this morning.
Be careful out there.
Okay, just be.
See you next week.
It's in my car.
Next week is the first budget meeting. Good.
We're going to Astros game.
Did you?
Already?
We're sitting on the Rangers.
Bobby?
So she says she's gonna research it. some more.
I gotta go get a key,
Go ahead.
then I gotta sign check, then we're gonna go to lunch, right?
Okay.
Minute book.
I'll be right back.
Oh, you coming?
Yeah.
out? Yeah. You just gonna go out the bar.
I'm gonna start on some of these checks.
Okay, go ahead.
What's this mean here, man? See, I don't need to be signing these.
Where?
Aren't we paying somebody to install them water meter?
Oh, that's Mr. Crossman.
I thought our guys installed water meters.
We do.
Oh, no, this is a refund. Because it's for the standby fee, that for the water meter. He paid it with the lease, 334, and then we just prorated, to what, 3? Yes. Yeah, because they installed the water meter, so then now they're gonna have water. It's either, when they don't have water, we charge them a standby fee of $334 a year, and he
Yeah.
just paid it, so.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's what it is. Yes, it's prorated, I know.
What did, Ron, you were telling us the other day that the county tax assessor collector gave you some information?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Did you get- I know you-
Copy.
I didn't take a copy of it.
No, I'm gonna bring it to you right now. I was gonna do it in next week, but I'll bring it to you now where you can see it. Then we know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Oh, that's how they broke it in.
Yeah, they break it in by agency, not by.
Okay, that's cool.